Yep, I'm filming a car video. Had to walk out of work as usual. Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm gonna tell you what happened. This group had apparently an employee that has end-stage renal disease, which is a very, 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 very expensive illness, and those claims can be really high. They've gotten better from the groups that I've worked with. Like the claims that I've seen have been like more in the like 450,000 to 500,000 range, but they can get up to like millions of dollars, $1 million or so in 1 year. Like I'm talking about $500,000 worth of claims in 1 year is low. Like that's an improvement on what I used to see for renal disease. Those things used to be like $1 million in 1 year. So the group though, I didn't delve deeper into it because of what they requested. So I'm just gonna go into it and torture myself. There's this thing called individual stop loss coverage, which is redundant in my opinion. But again, health insurance doesn't make any sense to begin with. So these self-funded groups basically are saying that the employer is paying the claim. Basically, the employer is the insurance company. Like, so if your company has over probably like 500 employees, they probably have a self-funded policy, and that's essentially the employer's paying the claims, and the health insurance company is just saying, we're gonna do the paperwork for you. Basically, we're gonna say, okay, well, these are how much claims there are, this is how many claims there are, this is how much they cost, you need to pay your claims. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they have other then there's extra buy-ups, basically, like individual stop loss coverage and aggregate stop loss coverage. So that's how, a lot of times they wind up with a negative net administration fee, because all we're doing is just saying, here's what your claims were this year. You know what I'm saying? So, and employers are like, yeah, we like that. You know what I'm saying? It's great. So they're paying the claims. We're just administering. So I don't see why your employer would be complaining about health insurance too. Like, I don't understand why your employer would be coming to us about health insurance when we're not doing anything. If it's a self-funded group, like, we're absolutely not doing anything. Like, we have programs where we're like, we can save you money on your claims. Like, we'll be like, oh, if we save you money, we'll keep a percentage of the amount that we save you. We'll help you, do shit like that. But if you have a self-funded policy, like, all we're doing is taking the money that you already said you had, and we're paying the claims with it. Like, you really can't blame the health insurance company for that, especially when you have a negative net administration fee as an employer. Like, your employer's paying the fucking claims. And then we have things that they can purchase to, like, you're basically asking for us to be your health insurance company at that point, because there's this thing called individual stop loss coverage, where if you have individuals who are really, really, really fucking sick, and those claims are expensive as hell, like renal disease, and you have like 5 people that are like, each one of them has over $200,000 or $150,000 in claims in 1 year, like we charge you a fee basically to get health insurance, basically. So we cover anything over 100. So we'll pay from our money anything over that $150,000, and then they have aggregate stop loss coverage, which is also basically you asking us to give you health insurance. And so their company will be purchasing health insurance from us at that point. But when you just have a traditional self-funded policy without individual stop loss coverage and aggregate stop loss coverage, your employer has to pay all those claims out of their pocket. So they're basically the health insurance company, like I said before. So they came to us after purchasing these two buy-ups, basically individual stop loss coverage and aggregate stop loss coverage. And they said, we want you to remove the claims for the renal disease patient. And I'm like, the fuck you mean remove the claims? Like, what the fuck is that gonna do? Just say that they didn't have, what do you mean remove them? They're like, remove them from your pricing. I'm like, you still gotta pay the fucking claims, motherfucker. So yeah, so yeah, from my calculation, if your employer, if you have self-funded policy, you should not be complaining about health insurance to a health insurance company. You need to complain to your employer, because they're the ones paying the claims. You need to. It's literally out of the health insurance company's hands. You need to contact the doctors and ask why health care is so expensive. That's all I got. We just project. We can be like, okay, this is how much this is what your average, like we'll tell them stuff like, okay, this is what your average claim value was for this year, you know what I'm saying? And we can project what they'll probably be next year, and it'll be like, this is how much money you need to have available to pay your claims. And that's about it. And then we'll be like, the way we make money off of that shit is, again, if we're like, hey, we can save you some money on some claims in these scenarios, and they'll be like, and then be like, if we save you money, we're gonna keep a percentage of the amount that we save you. Like if you were gonna pay $1,000 for this visit and we saved you $200, we're gonna keep 50 of that. So yeah, that's the only way we make money on self-funded groups, unless you buy individual stop loss coverage or aggregate stop loss coverage. And those claims are very fucking expensive. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. It's just so fucking complicated, and it's difficult to like take all of that shit and just put it in something that is just easy to understand. And it's very frustrating. So what they're asking us to do in this instance with a self-funded group is to essentially remove the claims from, it's not even, I haven't looked at it yet, but I think from what I remember, I don't think it's I don't think that the individual that they're asking us to remove the claims for they're not even a part of the individual stop loss coverage. So it would just be their total claims. So I'm like, what the fuck is that gonna do? Like, us removing the claims, like how is that gonna help anything? You're still gonna have to pay them. And I'm like, that's not gonna change your administration fee. And it only should change the aggregate stop loss coverage, but it might change the individual stop loss fee, even though I don't see why that would. But I think they take your total claims into consideration with the individual stop loss coverage. But they only have They only have two large fucking claimants. And I don't think the renal disease person is one of them. It might be. But I think, I don't know, we might need to, because they have two individuals that are like high risk. One of them isn't a high cost claimant yet. So that's one thing we have to catch, is like if an individual, say for instance, only has $95,000 worth of claims in 1 year, and we're like, what does that person have? And that person has like some fucked up shit, and we like, oh shit. And then we have to send it to the nurse review. So the nurses have to look at it and be like, this person is probably gonna need a lot of shit. And they're like, oh shit, this person's gonna be sick to the motherfucker. So we like project like, oh shit, we're gonna need to put a limit on we're gonna like cover everything over this amount, because you guys probably aren't gonna have the money to pay for it. So we'll do shit like that, which I still don't understand that laser shit. Like they'll have like a separate limit to where like your individual stop loss coverage will be like $250,000 that you have to pay as an employer, and then we'll pay everything over that. But if you have somebody that's gonna be a fucking like $1 million claimant for a long fucking time, like we'll be like, okay, we're gonna put a limit on this motherfucker at $800,000. So you're gonna have to pay everything up to $800,000 on that motherfucker, because they're gonna be sick for a while, and we are gonna pay. We're gonna be paying a lot of money on this person. So buckle up. But yeah, like 800,000, fucking like that. It don't happen all the time, but it happened enough to where you be like, damn. And it just be like some random shit these days. Like it used to be like certain cancers, not all cancers, but certain cancers, and then like renal disease used to just be like, oh shit. Like that's one of them things when you're looking at it, you're like, oh shit, renal disease. But it's hard to see, like, because sometimes that person will just be at like, because you got to get it's like transplants you got to get. You got to keep getting these infusions and shit. It's a fucked up illness to have. So, like, and that shit is expensive as hell. And you never know when, like, where they are in that treatment process, because sometimes it'll be like there'll be like a lull where it's like cheap, like, you know what I'm saying, like 100,000 or like $200,000, and that shit just shoots up to like $1 million. But you never know when that's gonna happen. Like sometimes they'll get a transplant, sometimes they won't, sometimes it'll do, you know what I'm saying? You never know what's gonna happen. But that's why I had to walk out today, because they asked me to they said, will you remove the claims? I'm like, I've never heard of that. Like they I don't know. It's a lot of shit. A lot of fucking shit. Like 25-page contracts and shit that you gotta look at all damn day. So yeah, I got frustrated, had to walk out.